vacationing in Honduras with my mother the summer when I was 11 years old. The country was experiencing an energy crisis. All electricity was shut down by 8 p.m., and the humid heat made us sleep in only our panties since we did not have the electricity to operate a fan at night. No electricity had also enabled the crime rate to sharply increase in the midst of pitch black night. The energy crisis had lasted for several years, and the houses in our colonia were getting broken into and residents attacked more often than they had ever been. The Honduran authorities did little to nothing to ensure our safety. Adding to the problem, my mother was also a black woman from America who owned property. Coming from a country where roads were supposedly paved in gold and money grew on trees, she knew that if anyone in her colonia was going to be robbed, it was going to be her. In this time of lawlessness and disorder, my brother felt that guns were needed in the house. He kept 2 handguns locked in a chest that was hidden under my mother's queen-size bed. When my mother was in her early 20s, she was a teacher who worked in the unmapped parts of the countryside of Honduras. While walking through the bush to get to a road, several men attempted to attack her. Knowing that she was lucky to have escaped, my mother vowed then that she'd be better prepared the next time men would attempt to assault her. She began to ride a motorcycle, taught herself how to use a gun, and always kept a gun in her work bag. Our second night that summer, when I was 11, she shook me awake to tell me she had heard something. The noise could have been the neighbor's chickens or the breeze from the nearby beach causing the coconut tree branches to hit each other and the roof of our house. Or maybe actual intruders. My mother erred on the side of caution. Both of us, in our panties, her breasts hanging down and jiggling as she gingerly got off the bed and went on her knees to get the small chest from under our bed. She checked both guns to see if they were loaded. After checking each gun, my mother handed the smaller one to me. My hand was shaking because the power I held was overwhelming for my 11-year-old mind and body. I feared accidentally pulling the trigger and shooting my mother. She saw my nervousness, so she grabbed the barrel of the gun and placed it on the windowsill for stability. She whispered with the strength that only a mother who was protecting her child with unwavering urgency would say, "When I tell you to shoot, you shoot." She then turned to the window and yelled into darkness, "We have 2 guns pointing at you. Leave my property now or we will shoot until we know you are dead." We stayed by the window for some time until the sound that only my mother heard stopped. She took the gun from my still shaking hand and put both guns back in the chest. She told me to go back to sleep. But I didn't sleep. My eyes were closed, but my mind was alert with the image of my holding a gun, our chickens picking at dead bodies in our backyard, and thoughts of my mother not surviving an accidental shot. I haven't held a gun since. My mother and I never spoke about that moment, but that dark night, my mother taught me that fear is a creation of the mind. And regardless of the threat, pushing through fear is key to survival.